What's going on, everybody? James Hancock here. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I'm back to review the new Netflix movie, Polar, starring Mads Mikkelsen. This time of year, there are so few new movies to get excited about, but this flick has been on my radar ever since I first saw the trailer. I have no idea why so many critics like to bash Netflix and their original movies. A lot of them like to claim that Netflix is killing the theatrical experience, and as a result, it seems like every time Netflix releases a new original movie, they all gang up and try to destroy it. But when it comes to the theatrical experience, what I would counter with is that it's actually audience members themselves who are killing the theatrical experience by screwing around on their phones the entire movie. Alamo Drafthouse is the only theater chain right now that's willing to throw people out for ruining movies for others, but sadly, that theater chain is only present in a few cities. And so for people who like to watch new movies in a distraction-free environment, I think Netflix is incredible. And obviously with the sheer number of shows and movies that they're making, there are going to be plenty of turkeys in the mix. But when it comes to hardcore, ruthless action movies, Netflix is rapidly building up this incredible library of movies like The Night Comes For Us, which I thought was the best action movie released last year. Now, as far as Polar is concerned, I have not read the Dark Horse comic that it's based on. Polar Came from the Cold by Victor Santos, but it tells the story of a killer for hire, Duncan the Black Kaiser, but he's reaching retirement age, and he suddenly finds himself being pursued by his former employer as a way of avoiding paying him what he's owed upon retirement at age 50. I'm new to this director's work, but Jonas Åkerlund has directed over 100 music videos for groups like Metallica and U2 and Rammstein, and he has another feature film, Lords of Chaos, coming out February 8th. But I have to admit, I am becoming a fan because Polar is the kind of unapologetic genre entertainment that I find myself drawn to. There's no politics, no agenda, no bullshit, just loads of R-rated violence and torture with the added bonus of some inappropriate, gratuitous nudity and sex, all the things a growing boy needs. When I was a kid in the 80s, Hollywood cranked these kinds of movies out on a regular basis, and I love that Netflix is starting to recognize a huge opportunity in making the kinds of movies that the rest of Hollywood seems so reluctant to support. Underserved audiences always present huge opportunities, and I know I'm not alone in wanting to see more genre entertainment where I'm not constantly subjected to sermons like I'm some kid at school who's been caught doing something bad on the playground. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, check out some of the sanctimonious reviews of this film online, and you'll see exactly the kind of preachy nonsense I'm talking about. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is some perfect movie. Far from it. The movie has plenty of bad acting to go around, a really lengthy dead period in the middle of the movie where nothing happens, and a final scene that basically ends the movie on a bit of a whimper. That said, the movie also features some wildly entertaining spectacle that had me howling in joy and sometimes in agony at the strange, brutal twist featured in the story. I've been a Mads Mikkelsen fan for years, and he's worked on so many incredible films, from art house fare like The Hunt or Valhalla Rising, or mainstream entertainment like playing the villain Le Chiffre in one of my favorite Bond movies, Casino Royale. And while Polar is inconsistent in his level of quality, the one constant is Mikkelsen as Duncan the Black Kaiser, and he delivers one of the most badass performances I've seen in a while. Think of some of your favorite westerns or gangster movies or favorite samurai movies and which iconic actors bring those movies to life. And in my opinion, Mikkelsen is operating on that level. My hope is that he'll start playing these savage roles on a regular basis the rest of his career, because right now Denzel Washington, Keanu Reeves, Liam Neeson, Tom Cruise, all these guys are getting old as hell and they're still doing action movies, so there's nothing stopping Mikkelsen from doing the same. So let's talk a little bit about the things that I felt really worked well in Polar, and if you don't like spoilers, now is the time to bail on this video. But most of the characters in this story work for an organization called Damocles. And if you want to know what that means, look up the Sword of Damocles on Wikipedia. But their boss, Blut, played by Matt Lucas, who, by the way, is absolutely terrible in this movie. But he's trying to sell the company. What he wants to do is kill off all of the employees that he owes money to beforehand. And we see this in the opening scene as a team of assassins, including characters named Cindy, Facundo, Hildy, Alexei, and Carl. They come in and murder Johnny Knoxville's character as he's partying his face off, like doing cocaine, popping Viagra, chugging champagne. He's basically trying to enjoy his retirement. And right away we know what kind of movie we're watching because the camera lingers for a long time on Johnny Knoxville's erection even after he's dead. And if that kind of gag is too adolescent for your taste, this is definitely not the movie for you. And then as the team flies away, these assassins start singing Earth, Wind & Fire September as a little ball bounces across the lyrics on the screen like we're watching a kid's show like Dora the Explorer. So once again, if you watch the opening scene and it's not your thing, bail out. What I like about this movie, though, is that the movie doesn't try to make Duncan some pure and noble hero. Early on, we see him accidentally shoot his newly acquired dog when he's having a particularly visceral nightmare about his past actions. Clearly, this movie is not trying to be John Wick, and much of the first half follows Duncan's life in a log cabin out in the snow and his friendship with his neighbor Camille, played by Vanessa Hudgens. And for me, this is the weakest part of the movie, and I almost bailed on doing this review entirely. But when Blute's team of assassins finally catches up with Duncan at his cabin as he's making love to one of the team's operatives, the movie picks up some serious momentum as we're treated to Duncan's nearly superhuman ability to lay waste to very dangerous people. We see him buck-ass nude in the snow with just a sidearm doing more damage than a small army. The violence is truly next level, and if seeing axes to the forehead is not your thing, you might be completely grossed out. But the violence in that scene is nothing compared to this lengthy torture scene featured late in the movie. Richard Dreyfuss has a nice cameo as an aging agent who helps capture Duncan, and Blute proceeds to torture Duncan mercilessly for days, just cutting him to ribbons, poking out one of his eyes. It's seriously gross stuff. But what Blute doesn't realize is something that we saw early on in the movie during a doctor's examination, that Duncan has a chunk of metal in his side that's been there for years. And after he gets cut open there, he waits till the night, he yanks it out, uses the metal to pick his handcuffs, and what follows is a true reckoning as Mikkelsen, who's weak and bloody, he takes on this small army like he's Batman on every drug he can get his hands on, and he's killing dudes from the shadows, and he's taking his fair share of damage as well. He's getting shot all over, but he manages to escape, and he hunts down an old girlfriend who bandages him up and supplies him with the arsenal that he'll need for the rest of the movie. And I have to say, Mikkelsen looks insanely cool with an eye patch, and soon thereafter he does manage to get his revenge on Blute, whose head Duncan basically hurls like 200 feet out of a window. It's a great shot. Now, I feel like I might be overselling the movie, so let's quickly go over some of the bad. Structurally, the screenplay is a complete mess, and ending the movie on a 10-minute long, drawn-out twist nearly destroys almost all the movie's momentum. Furthermore, the entire cast of characters, apart from Duncan, are at best thin caricatures instead of actual characters. And this should come as no surprise to anyone, but stylistically, the movie's just all over the place. This is a common problem that plagues many filmmakers who come from the world of music videos. So if people want to say that this is a bad movie, objectively that case can easily be made, but I still had a blast watching it. I will always call attention to any movie that manages to make me shriek or laugh in surprise, because as you get older and more cynical, that just happens less and less often. I wish I could recommend the movie without reservations, but that would be totally dishonest. So as a way of drawing this to a close, I'll simply say that if you enjoy watching ruthless genre entertainment that is mostly devoid of any redeeming noble qualities, you'll likely have fun watching this movie. But if you like your movies to have a little more substance, Polar is not the movie for you. But I think that's about all I have to say on this particular movie, but I can't thank you enough for watching my review. If you enjoyed this review, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you want to talk about action movies, in particular, action movies that are indefensible, definitely hunt me down on Twitter, and you can find a link to that in the description below. But I hope everyone has an amazing weekend, and I'll be back at y'all in the near future with some more videos. So thanks again for watching, and as always to all you fine people out there, onwards and upwards.